Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US tech stocks, and we'll look at the SP and the NASDAQ. I have re-updated all of the indices, so if you want to go into the Elliott Wave Algo trading section, you can go over to analysts here and check on all the counts that I've got in the indices, all been updated, and the other guys here are starting to migrate over to this section as well. Okay, so over to the S&P here. Unfortunately our wave 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 is not going to pan out, obviously, at this particular point. So we need to logically look at the next steps, and the market's still bullish. And the reason I know that for is because this particular this is the cash market here. Above that high here, this one here, we've got this one here. So it's not going to finish in some sort of wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. In this case, it just doesn't make any sense. So, this particular move here looks like a B wave here. So this would be the primary count. We're going to look at an alternative as well, which is just as valid, but based on what I've got here, then this count would look like this, with an A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here, and then moving up at that point. Okay, yeah, so this would be the primary count based on this one here. The other count that I've got here, which you'll be able to access as well, this alternative count here, would see the market like this one here, with still wave 3 over here, but instead of having this wave 4 here sitting over here, then this would be an A and a B and a C. But my problem with this, this would sort of make sense, but the thing with it is that this move from this B wave low to the C wave here, I can't really count 5 waves in that move, in this move to here, maybe I could WXY it and those sorts of things, but the way that it's sort of set up, it just doesn't, look like that. But I can't wipe it off, so that's going to be our alternative count. And the thing is, if this is going to come down to wave 1 in 5 waves here, then we're either going to come up in 3 for 2 and then go down, or in the other count that we've got, we would still come down for 5 waves, but then we'd move up again. So it's something that we could easily navigate at this point. So from B to C here would also be 5 waves as well. So let's just drop into the intraday space here and look at this here. So what we can see here is we can see that we've got, this first move, second move, and this third wave move here that doesn't appear to be finished at this particular point in time here. So we still need a couple of 4s and 5s to come a little bit lower here. The trend, from the beginning, this is the beginning here, this is the middle here, right in the middle is just here for this. So basically, if that's the strongest point in the trend right there, the third of the third there, then all of this here, we could flip that over on its head and bring it back down to here and look at that picture. So we still need our 4s and 5s to play out through there. So I'm thinking that this should start to shore up on the sort of Tuesday. Then we'll see, because basically what will happen is that if we just draw both of these out here, let's just keep this simple at this point, we either go straight up from there and we'll be looking up as 5 waves up, or if it was going to be bearish, we would have an A wave here, wave B here, and then a wave C over here, and then we would come down at that point. So that would be the bearish side of it. So that means we could be short under this low here, wherever that may be, and that will take us into a third wave to the downside. But otherwise, what we'll do is we'll look for this top to the bottom here, and then we'll look at the 50-60%, wherever that is here. And once we've got our first 5 waves up, we could go long on this first one here. I'll give that a bit of consideration, but I'd really want a larger 5 waves, and I'd want us to be a little bit higher up. But I'll give that some thought, and we'll see where stock is. But they're the 2 counts, and because of this one here being in 3 waves. I can probably squeeze it into 5 waves as 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 and 5. So it is doable. Both counts are sort of valid, but we'll go one step at a time at this particular point in time. Okay, so nothing to do. We just wait for this to play out here. And obviously stock is going to be, making this happen. So we can expect the stock market to be in the same boat. So if I look at the NASDAQ here on this one. So I'm just going to keep it really simple at this point. So I'm just going to look at this as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here. So tomorrow we'll pick this up and we'll see sort of where we are, and then we'll start looking to work it to the upside at this from that point. So it's quite a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 coming down at this point. So we just have to wait for it to unfold, and hopefully we can look at we can look at the top here and the bottom here, wherever it may be. Look at where the 50 and 61.8% is in that regard, and try to get some sort of understanding of that. And then if we end up getting 5 waves to the 61.8%, that's going to be perfect, because then we could just buy the ABC back from that point. Okay. So we just need to wait it out. We can't really do much, and this is what we'll need to do with stock as well. So based on stock, let's go and start to have a look at some of these. That reminds me as well, we've updated the chat lounge as well, the chat module, and all the modules, and cleared a lot of the storage in there as well. So you'll see it a little bit differently, but I had to clean it out and I had to update it. So apologies for that, and you may need to log back in. Okay, so for Apple, there's no real change here. Last week we were sort of working through up here for wave 3, and then we're coming back for wave 4. Come back to wave 4, 1 lesser degree, and then pushing up for 5, and then an ABC and all those sort of things, so yeah, that's that. I want to go for the longer haul here, in the move. Normally we could take some profit here. You could do that if you wanted to. You don't need to go through this wave 2. It just depends on what your style is at that point. So, but yeah, nothing sort of new here. You can see that we're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're not quite there yet. So it'll be the A wave, the B wave coming into play here once that's finished there, and then the C wave here. We won't probably do anything in this particular move here, but I'll point out the trade for you if it's nice and clear and we got a little bit, but there won't be much in it. It'll just be a few days, and then we just need to navigate through this. Now wave 2 can be deep, it could be sort of shallow, we never know, but we'll just need to track the 5, 3 and 5 structure through there. So let's go to Amazon. Okay, so we still need to come down a bit further in Amazon, just from the top area over here. We can see that I still need wave 3, 4 and 5 here. So this is really much the same as most of the other markets. We could look at this as 1 and 2 in here, and 3, 4, 5. We could have that in there already. As such, I could put that wave 5 there in that case and look at wave 4, but either way we still need to come down further, and even when we do land, we still want a little impulse wave to the upside. We still want our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, so we can manage our risk at that point, and then would be long above the above the B wave here. We could buy the pullback a bit deeper and look for the next little 5 waves up and pull into that one as well. But we definitely need that little 5 waves there, because that we know if we get 5 here, we're going to get 5 over here, and that way we can at least manage our risk of initial exposure, somewhat. So there's probably different ways to count all of this, but I think that sort of we're not far off, where I want to be with this really. So yeah, just this needs to land, that's all. So yeah, as you can see there, most of the markets are pretty much the same, And Nvidia. So So I have changed this a little bit. We've got our stop at 126. I may drop that down to 120, back to 122 where it was. I don't need to do it today, but I do want to stay in it, because whichever way you want to count this up here, we have, it is a 5-wave move to the upside. So I really want to stay with it for the time being. But if you're not comfortable with that, by all means, this getting out here would be good. We've got an entry down here and 2 up here, so there'll be, a reasonable profit in there. But as far as the crow flies, I'm just trying to figure out this 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it also needs to land as well. So I'm not going to get really involved in the wave count to how this finishes off. But once we'll really see wave 4 come in, you know what I mean? That will be a bit of a sideways thing. It may even be, depending on how long wave 4 takes. That's always the unknown, because wave 4s can be simple, but they can also be sort of quite complex as well, and burn up time. So it's hard to say what day it's going to find support down here, but yeah, we're certainly not finished with this little move down here or any of the other markets at that point. Okay, Meta. Okay, so with Meta here, I may even move the stop as well. I don't want to get stopped out, just because I know this is all going to finish. It's just about where it finishes, that's all. So don't get stopped out, just move the stop on this. Unless you want to get out, now's the time to get out, because I've got an entry here and an entry here, and this will be the halfway mark here. So there's no sort of real damage. But and there's also different ways to count this down here as well. I get that, but even so, even if I was completely wrong and all of this was 5 waves down here, and that would be wave 1 and 2 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the 3rd wave, 4th wave, and 5th wave. Even if we had 5 waves down here, then I would, at some point in the future, I would, if this was going to be an ABC pattern here, well then we, and come down further from that point, well then we'd move the stop up to this point. So, we don't need to panic at the bottom. We can just manage it on the retest if worse comes to worse. But otherwise, this still needs to land here. This is a little 3rd wave coming down here. I haven't pulled it apart, but I still need the 4th and the 5th to play out there as well. So as you can see, they're all pretty much. And this is Netflix. Sorry to jump forward so quickly there, but between each stock that I do, I have to note the time on that, so I can put it in the video. Yeah, I just want to. I don't know if this is a top here, or I need to call all of this wave 1 and back for wave 2, and then heading higher here. I mean, it doesn't sort of matter in a way, because we can look to. We can look to have an entry above any of these highs at this stage. So, we could look at this as an A wave, a B wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and finish here, and then push up. So we can have that entry there. It's not a big deal. I just want to see how it sort of fits, because, I mean, the basic pattern that I see here is a classic trading levels pattern. So basically we've got this here, we've got this here, we've got this here, and normally we would come down and do something like this, So will it just do this and go up from that point? It's possible. That's this particular pattern here. So I still need that second high to go on here for this. So I'm not quite sure about this one. To sort of mull it over a little bit further, but there's nothing to do at this stage with this. Okay, so I just want to see if it does this sort of thing and pushes up from there. But I still want, even if this pushed up here, there would be 5 waves up here, and then there would be an ABC, and then there would be up like this. So if it's going to follow the rest of the market, so we'll end up going long on top of group 1 with another little classic trading levels pattern. So we've got to kind of get all the pieces together for this first. So I'll just wait it out. So possible top in here, otherwise we need to look at all of this as a wave 1 up here. But if that was all wave 1, well then I've got to kind of consider all of this all of this up here as wave one, you know, but we got this big gap here, and you know, from the earnings and all the rest of it, you know. So I'll just be a little bit mindful about this, but you know, it's not going to get away on us. We're going to, you know, we don't normally miss much on the trade side of things, so we'll just chill on that, and then we come over to Google. Okay, just once again staying on the intraday, because we don't really need to go too far at this stage, you know. So last time we spoke, we were looking at this being the A, the B, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. A little bit dodgy on the 5 waves, I got it. And then we can look at this as wave 1 and 2 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's probably just about in here at a rough guess. So we still need 4, 5, and you know, much the same as the other market. So you know, they're all, you know, when markets are in fear, they all sort of like group together, like, you know. So yeah, they're all in sort of fear mode, so they're all just copying each other at this stage. And we'll go over to Microsoft. So when we go to Microsoft here, you know, I got to kind of look at it like this, even though I can sort of see that it could possibly come down further. Let's just check on that. So with Microsoft here, we definitely need to take out this low here. Well, certainly this here. So this just simply needs to come down further. That's all. There's nothing really too exciting about all of this, but definitely need to come. I mean, we've got the 400 here. Will it come this far? There's obviously going to be a lot of support in this, you know, in this area here as well. So we'll just see how, you know, we'll see how it plays out at this point. So I'm in no rush with this one. This is we need a strong sort of setup for this, but it's just not there yet. So I'm going to leave that. Then we come over to Tesla. So we've got this trade here. I've also moved the stop to this low here as well, and the downside for this is that, as I mentioned last time, and you had a chance to get out of it last time as well, is that it's also possible that we could have one more low in here and then move up from there. That's also possible. But I just want to sort of play this out. There's a couple of ways to count this up through here as well. But once again, I just want to have a look for, you know, if I look at this as the A and the B here, as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here for this. So I'll just allow this to play out as well. So nothing really to do here except to move the stop down under this low here. And you may even want to move it down a little bit further at this point as well, because this would, at the end of the day, this would be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here. So it's not going to come that much further down at this point. Yep. Okay. So let's cruise along to Bitcoin. This is a daily chart for Bitcoin, and I just want to talk about this, and I want to have a look at a couple of other markets as well. So with Bitcoin here, we have made a new high here, right? But if we look at BlackRock, which is IBIT, just have a look at that pattern in a couple of these. You can see here that this high here didn't take out this high over here for this. So in a way, we could look at this as the A wave and then an A and a B and a C. And I haven't really looked inside here. It doesn't really matter, but it does in its own way look like an A and a B and a C wave coming down here, doesn't it? So it's a little bit tricky to count in here, and you could look at it different ways. You could kind of consider this being the low in here at this particular point here, but I don't think that's the case. I mean, I also understand that when a B wave comes up, if it comes up quite high here, and it has on Bitcoin, it's taken the top out here on Bitcoin. So that means that it doesn't normally have to have a deeper correction down here, but heading back towards this low here would be about right, you know. And you can kind of see here, whichever way you want to count this, you know, you can see that we've got a strong third wave in here. So, you know, we could look at these as 1s and 2s and 1s and 2s and 1s and 2s and so on. So it's definitely, we're in some sort of wave 4 here for this. And have a look at grayscale. I can't remember what that is now. GBTC, was it? Yeah, I haven't really looked at it for that long. It's the same thing, you know. So it's the same pattern sort of playing out there, and you know, you could view that in different ways. So we've got increased volume on this last bar here as well for that. And MicroStrategy is getting a bit hammered, but you know, that's his own sort of play really, because he's created so much paper money, you know, on against his stock, you know. So we never got triggered into that, so I'll just remove that, but that's okay. And we were looking at this as an A and a B and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So in this case here, you can really see, I'm going to readjust this. So, you know, so we've got this nice A, B, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but then we've got this A, B, and C here for the B wave. So obviously we've got to drag that across to here, and we've got to drag that across to here. And then the trick now is to find, now that's just doubled in size, we need to figure out how this plays out here as, you know, as an ABC pattern here. And one of the things here with, you know, just checking a bit back here again as well. I'd have to call that in as a low rather than that, because that's in 3 waves and that's in 5, even though there's an overlap there. But you get overlap on large numbers and things. I mean, in this case, it looks like we've got a wave 4 here for this. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for 1 and 2. Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is the 3rd wave up here, but a 4th wave, but it's just a little bit bigger in this case. So this one's going to pull back further for this one. So this would be in here, coming up here. So this could actually pull back to right back to the 38.2%. So MicroStrategy, if you're long here, this can come down further. So this would sort of look like, to me, just at a bit of a guess here and just sort of shooting the breeze. And I don't know how this plays out on the other markets, but this would be 1 here. I don't know if that's an ABC for 2 here, or if that's also 1 and 2 here, but in a way, whichever way you want to go, this has got a bit more to come down here for this, I'd say, which does sort of open the door a little bit for the other markets. Let's just go back here. We've got a little bit of time without burning too much up. Let's just go back here and have a look at this. Can we look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bit of overlap. Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, it's quite possible for this to, you know, come back below the level here, because normally when it doesn't stop at the level here, I call that an overshoot pattern. Normally the distance above is normally the distance below it comes. So if I it's the sort of third, when it's, I just call it the overshoot pattern, and it's the, I've only got 3 patterns really at a price point, and when it doesn't stop here, the distance above here is normally the distance below that it comes. Take that with a pinch of salt, don't get too excited about that, but it just gives you an idea of balance and perspective and those sorts of things, you know. So it will depend on, you know, what consolidation is over here and what price point that is at and all those sorts of things. But it does sort of, you know, it does give us that sort of thing at this point. So really looking at you know, this here would be, you know, looking at this being down here for that, which is kind of interesting really in its own little way. Anyway, we'll see, but definitely being pulled back to this number here. So this is being pulled to this number where Bitcoin has already got a big number here, so it's got this large number here, and this one is the strongest number. So it'll be more reluctant to come down because it's stuck here, but it's basically retesting this 1000 here, and it can't get up there at this point. Do you know what I mean? So it's still needs to come down further at this point, I reckon. And yeah, there's different ways to count all of this. We've been sort of over it, but like I've said, that we either get support on the 100,000 on the major trading level 1, or we come down further, and then we need to try to understand the pattern at that point, and it would have matured a little bit more at that point there as well. So there's certainly some weakness here. It's not to say that this low here can't be the low, and that can be the low, and this could be up for 1 and back for 2 here, or an A and a B and a C here, and continue up. I'm not saying that, but just looking at the other markets, they're a bit weaker and they need to come down. So it's quite likely that this will test a bit lower here. Where are the indicators here? Just want to... See, that's the this orange line here. That's the point of control in terms of the volume. So we're under that at the moment. So so that's important at that point. So there is, it's not on the strong side at this stage. Alrighty, I'll leave it at that. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy the week ahead.